Police in India have shut down a fake cricket league that enlisted farmers and unemployed men to pretend to be professional players in an alleged scheme to trick Russian sports gamblers.
Yeah,
no, this story is insane. It is insane. So here's what happened. Let's break it down. Police say the plot took place in a rural part of the Western Indian state of Gujarat. Here's what we know. The games were streamed on YouTube, but the narrow camera angle did not show the wider backdrop to viewers. Instead, digital crowd noise was piped into the footage, accompanying commentary by a voice that resembled that of Harsha Bogle, a household name among cricket fans worldwide. Now, they got real creative here, okay? The fake league's batters and bowlers, similar to baseball's pitchers, wore uniforms of major Indian Premier League teams, and then they were paid about $5 per game and are being treated as witnesses instead of suspects in this investigation, okay? So here's what the stream of this fake game looks like. Let's take a look at the video. I'll explain what's happening. So they look to be on a barren patch of dirt with a carpet nailed to the ground, serving as the cricket pitch. There are no close-ups of the players or shots of the crowd, probably because there isn't a shot of the crowd, and then there isn't a crowd. And then the YouTube channel had just 255 subscribers. That's it. Okay, so these aren't actual professional cricket players. They're just farmers and unemployed men who got hired to pose as such. So because it was all a ruse, the organizers set up a Telegram channel to facilitate wagers from gamblers from Russia, right? So like Russian gamblers are actually betting on these cricket games, these phony cricket games. One of the 4 men involved in organizing the scheme had worked in a pub in Russia and had gotten some of his contacts there interested in betting on cricket.
Yeah. I read several articles on this to try to determine who was the dumbass. So was it the Russian gamblers who looked at that and thought, oh, that's a professional cricket game, even though it's like on a patch of dirt and it doesn't look like they're running very hard and none of this makes any sense. And maybe presumably the ethnically Indian guy robbing them in Russia in the bar, maybe he thought these guys are like they think India is so broke they don't realize that we have actual stadiums and grass and etc. And maybe they'll buy this. And if they did, then the Russian gamblers are the dumbasses. If somebody told me, oh yeah, this is a really important Indian cricket league here, but why don't you bet $10,000 on it? I'd be like, what? First of all, I ain't got that kind of money, but are you insane, right? But they piped in real, there's no audience, of course, but they piped in the audience noise to make it look a little bit more realistic. Or my question is, are the dumbasses the guys who are trying to fake this and they're like, oh, we'll get them. We'll pretend it's real cricket and then they'll buy it and then we'll make so much money, right?
Seems like it worked to some extent.
No, see, that's the unclear part. That's why I read into it because I was naturally curious. So far, they think it was only $4,000 worth of bets and that setting this whole thing up might have cost twice as much.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
They might have ended up spending more than they took in from the Russian gamblers, that's right.
Yeah, so the guys who set it up might be the dumbasses.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think there are any winners in this story. Although, very smart psychologist by the name of Jordy Peterson told me that the degeneracy is just in the United States and Russia invaded Ukraine specifically to prevent Western degeneracy into Ukraine.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is the first noted degeneracy coming out of Russia.
Yeah, so there are no degenerate gamblers in Russia.
No. Look, I read a really long article about Matt Taibbi's experience in Russia decades ago, right during Glasnost, as Russia had first gotten freedom. I assure you, there was many things that were degenerate in Russia at the time, unbelievable degenerate things that happened.
Yeah.
And so you know why? Because Russians are human.
Yep.
And that's what happens, and Indians are human. And so some guy's trying to scam the other guy, etc. It's a funny scam. It's inventive, it's creative, they spend a lot of time on it. But I always think with criminals, if you just spent that time on a real job, you'd probably make way more money.
For real. Yeah, man, like get after it. Like do that instead.
Yeah, in fact, I know that for a fact, specifically on this topic, because a friend of mine that I halfway grew up with, I roomed with, did actually set up a cricket league in India on YouTube, and it made a tremendous amount of money.
Really?
Yeah, so do something real. You'll make way more money instead of wasting your time on 2-bit scams. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.